Good afternoon, Peju. How you doing? You well?
Good afternoon, Joel. I am very well. Excited to be spending this time with you. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No worries, no worries at all. I understand that apparently you're healing the world one stage at a time through the power of poetry. So I definitely want you to tell me more.
Oh, I would love to. So for me, poetry is healing. I feel like words really cut deep or heal deeply. So there's a phrase that I love, deep calls to deep. And I feel like words are that thin. For me, that is my contribution to the world. Different people contribute in different ways. For me, the power of the spoken word and the use of that power to bring life into people's lives, to bring life into communities, to bring life into myself, to bring life into my family. You could heal in different ways. You could heal as a doctor. You could heal as a physiotherapist. I find myself healing through the power of words, through the choice of words, through the audience that I bring life to through my words.
We're speaking about your book, A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations. 31 ways to sow, grow, and flow goodness into your life. I'm glad you're holding it up.
There it is, yes.
How long did it take to pull together? And what was the inspiration behind actually putting pen to paper or finger to an iPad or laptop, whatever you use?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when people ask me, I say, do you want the long answer or the short answer? Which one do you want first? Long answer or short answer?
I want the truth.
You want the truth? Okay, so it's been a lifelong journey of writing. 20 years it's taken me to harness the craft of bringing this book together to find my voice. But in terms of the actual process of writing, it took about 2 years, which was really me going for coaching to really draw out what was deeply inside of me. And that birthed this book. And you asked what the inspiration was behind the book. I would say it was pain, actually. Could pain be inspiration? Yes, you could find pain in inspiration or inspiration in pain. And I think for me, it was definitely seeing the power of negativity and the power of negative words in the lives of people around me. So I was seeing relationships break up because the words spoken were very dark and negative and bruising and destructive. I was seeing young people who I was educating not being able to reach their potential because of the words they were using about themselves, words that you wouldn't want any child to use to describe themselves. And so the pain of watching young people not reach their potential, the pain of watching friends of mine, women, not reach their potential because of the words they were using to describe themselves or to describe their future, the pain of seeing relationships break up because of the negativity that had been sown, and you're not necessarily able to take back those words and undo the damage that you've done. I thought we may not be able to change our situations, but surely we can change the language with which we use to describe that situation to craft a different reality. And it's not about faking, it's not about fibbing, it's about showing faithfulness in your language for the world that you are trying and excited to build for yourself and for others around you. So pain was the inspiration.
Yeah, I've said in a few interviews before that there's purpose in pain. And you mentioned educating young people. Speak on, that. Was that your role in your past life? I mean, you're a full-time author now. You're still doing that. Elaborate on that a little bit. And was the young people your intended audience?
Yeah, well, no, the intended audience were older people who have access to younger people, just to broaden the audience a little bit. I still do work with young people. I feel like I have part of my calling is empowering young voices. Part of my calling is drawing out the greatness in young people. I was a young person myself, not that many years ago. But in terms of educating, I was teaching English language as a specialism. And I love doing that. I did that for 20 plus years. So working with different young people, from really young people in Key Stage 1 up to university students who needed that extra boost of confidence when they were writing their dissertations in university. And through that journey, I really got a sense that a lot of young people want to be valued. They just want to know, you see me, you hear me, you value and respect me. And I feel like part of the power of my role as an educator was being able to connect with young people outside of the classroom, where for most of them, they're one of plenty or one of many voices in the classroom, and they didn't necessarily feel heard or valued. And I just crafted a role for myself where I could speak life into them. And when they were struggling and saying, Miss, I can't do it, I'm so stupid. Well, no, you're not stupid. Miss, I can't do it, I've made so many mistakes. Well, this is where you learn. Mistakes are great. And really helping them to feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's learning in the failing, and actually failing is moving you forward. So for me, young people mean a lot. I'm a mom of young children. I worked for the Prince's Trust many years ago, empowering the hardest to reach young people into education, employment, and training.
You mentioned English language. Is that where your love affair with poetry starts? And I guess what were some of the earlier influences and texts that you were drawn to?
Oh, I love language. I love words. I love how words rhyme. I love how words flow together. I love how words juxtapose. For me, the love of writing, the love of words and stringing sentences together started probably before I became a teenager. I'd say as a young girl. I am one of 6 children, and I was brought up in a house where everyone had a voice and everyone wanted to be heard. And I was quite a shy child. And so for me, being heard and being seen was writing. In my writing, I felt like I could be bold, I could be brash, I could be brutal, I could be beautiful. And so I kept journals from a young age, and I would write my innermost thoughts in them. And it was an escape for me. It was therapeutic. And it really, really gave me back a sense of having a voice as a young child. So I would say the love of English started way, way back as a young girl. And I was so privileged to have teachers who would encourage that gift. I would write a creative writing piece or composition in English, and I would get some really great feedback. And I just built on that. I just built on that strength because I noted that there is a gift here and I want to develop it.
Yeah, it's good to hear the process and the journey for younger aspiring writers out there who want to be a part of that. You said that the 2 years, it took you to pull the book together. How was the publishing process to you? What route did you take? Was it one you enjoyed? Did you learn a lot?
Oh my gosh, I learned so much. And I feel like I am more grateful for how hard it was. I really do. I guess at the start of the journey, I was very confused. Should I find a publisher? Should I self-publish? Which route should I take? And I felt like I knocked on a few doors, and there were some people who possibly could have opened the door a bit wider and didn't. And that definitely discouraged me on the journey. But also in that discouragement, it enabled me to look a little bit deeper within myself and to really find what was deeply within me. So I'm grateful for the people who did make it easy for me, because it enabled me to really find and hone my own voice. So the process of publishing, I decided I would self-publish. My husband has self-published before me, and it was hard work. It was hard work, and I wasn't sure at the start I wanted to put in all that work, but I could see the joy at the end of that process. And I felt like there were words brimming up inside of me. I was birthing something that was aching to come out. And so I decided to self-publish, to own part of that process of bringing my words to life.
When you're not writing poems, what are you doing?
When I'm not writing poems, I am being a woman on purpose. I'm coaching women, empowering other women who also need to find their voice or who have found their voice and need to speak up and be heard. When I'm not writing poetry, I'm writing blog posts and I'm writing articles for different publications, which is wonderful. When I'm not writing poetry, I'm speaking at events, which is great. I have a couple of events coming up. One of them is the Bloom Fest, which is coming up next week. Excited about that. When I'm not writing poetry, I am building up my family. I am a wife of 21 plus years. I am a mom to 3 children. I am a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. And yes, so I take a lot of those roles seriously. They bring me joy. And there's a season for everything. There's a season to write, which is what I did in birthing this book. And then there's a season to enjoy having written and passing that joy into the other parts of my life that make me Peju Abuchi who I am.
I'm going to be greedy then. Is there another book? Is there another book in you?
Oh, Joel, there are many books in me. And actually, there's one that is really kind of coming to the fore. And I'm like, I'm not ready to write that book. For me, the process of bringing a book to life, as I said before, is like birthing a baby. And when you've birthed a baby, or certainly when I birthed a baby, there's a season where you feel like, I just want to take care of this child. I don't want to rush and have another child because I want to give the child I have now the care, the love, the time, the space, the attention. That's how I feel about this book. I want to spend time loving up on this book. I want to spend time gifting this book to the world and give it the space it deserves. So watch this space though. There's more in me, but not just yet.
A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations, 31 Ways to Sow, Grow, and Flow Goodness into Your Life. Where can people find it, buy it?
Well, it's on Amazon right now. There'll be a link with the interview. You can also get this book from my website, which is www.pejuabuchi.com. You can get author signed copies there, which are a special gift in and of themselves. And I'm trying to get them into bookstores and bookshops. So please go into your local bookshop and bookstore and say, I want a copy of Peju Abuchi's book, A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations. Get it on your bookshelf.
Where can people find out more about you, Peju?
Like I said, my website, we can connect there. I'm also on LinkedIn. The name there is Peju the Spark Abuchi. I'm also on Instagram at Powerful Poetic Presence.
The next time we catch up, and there will be a next time, I want to get into a little bit more about what you're doing in terms of inspiring and mentoring women and enabling women. We touched on it privately, and I know there's a lot of work, good work being done in that space. So, looking forward to touching base with you. It's been a pleasure, Peju, talking to you, and I look forward to hearing how well this book's done and that next book and all the rest of it.
Thank you so much for your time. I have enjoyed every minute of the interview. Thanks, Joel.